We want to make it easier to build in America. We want to make it harder to build overseas. We want to make it easier to rely on our great American workers because we got a lot of them. American businesses ought to employ American workers. And we want to make it harder to employ foreigners to take those jobs from the Americans who deserve them. And most importantly, if you're working hard every single day right here in the United States, or if you're building a business right here in the United States, you ought to have a tax code that rewards you instead of punishes you. And that's what happened when we passed the Working Families Tax Cut just a couple of months ago. And of course, Brian Jack was a critical part of that. So you should be proud of your congressman. Now, what does this law mean for you? What this law means for you is that your take-home pay is going to go up over $10,000 over the next few years. What that means is that if you're working an hour of overtime, the federal government is going to keep its money the hell out of your pocket. Because if you're working hard, the government ought to leave you alone. Ain't that the truth? Do we have any single moms out there? Any single dads? Any people who work hard every single day? I had a single mom, and for a time my mom worked at a restaurant. She waited tables, like a lot of folks out there. And you know what we did in this new law? We said that if you're working hard and you're making your income via tips, we are not going to tax tips anymore because we want to give everybody out there that's working hard for those tips a little bit of relief. And that's what the Working Families Tax Cut did. No matter where you are in this country, if you're working hard and play by the rules, you ought to have a government that stands up for you instead of fights against you. That's why we increased the child tax credit in the Working Families Tax Cut. That's why we eliminated taxes on overtime and on tips. And that's why we had the biggest tax cut for families that this country has ever seen, because we believe that you ought to keep more of your hard-earned money, and we believe that if you're busting your rear end every single day, the government ought to make it easier for you and not harder for you, and that's why we fought for that legislation. Now, I am just a vice president. I'm just a lowly politician, but I'm going to try my hand at prophecy today, ladies and gentlemen, because I see the future of the state of Georgia, and in about a year, you are not going to be able to turn on the television without Senator Jon Ossoff pretending that he supported the Working Families Tax Cut when in reality he voted against it. And I saw a TV clip of him today. You know why he said he voted against no taxes on overtimes? You know why he said he voted against no taxes on tips? You know why he said that he voted to raise your taxes by the biggest amount in a generation in this country? Because he's allegedly worried about people getting kicked off their health care. Well, you know what? The President of the United States made a promise, a sacred promise, that the only people who are going to lose access to health care are illegal aliens who shouldn't be in this country to begin with. Because I happen to believe that Medicaid belongs to American workers and American families. I happen to believe that when you are struggling in this country, we're generous people, and we want to help you. But we want to help the people who have the legal right to be in the United States of America. So it's not about kicking people off of health care. It's about kicking illegal aliens the hell out of this country so that we can preserve health care for the American families who need it. And that's what the Democrats never talk about. That's what they'll never tell you. They'll say, well, Republicans want to do this to health care. They want to do that. They want to do all these terrible things. When in reality, if you look at what the Democrats have done, what they've tried to do is to allow millions and millions of illegal aliens into this country, to give them benefits that ought go by right to American citizens, and then to attack Republicans when we dare to stand up for the American citizens who have the right to be here. So when you watch those TV commercials in a year, and